Welcome to The Explainer. Let's just dive right in. We're going to tackle a huge question today, one that you've probably thought about. Is staying loyal to your company actually costing you money? We're about to pull back the curtain on how corporate pay really works and show you what the actual cost of staying put might be.
So let's kick things off with a little story. Meet Peter and Fred. These two are equally talented, equally hardworking, and they started their careers at the exact same company, in the same role, making the exact same salary. Identical starting blocks. But fast forward just 5 years, and, well, their bank accounts tell two very, very different stories. And here's the kicker. After only 5 years, Peter, the guy who switched jobs a couple of times, was earning a whopping 41% more than Fred, our loyal employee. And look, that's not just a small difference. That is a life-changing amount of money. It's the kind of gap that really shapes your financial future. So you have to ask, how in the world did this happen? It wasn't because Peter was a better worker, and it wasn't about putting in more hours. Nope, it was about strategy. It was about understanding a hidden system that's running just beneath the surface at most companies, a system that, believe it or not, often rewards people for leaving. And this whole thing actually has a name. It's called the loyalty penalty. And it's not just this vague feeling you get that you're being underpaid. It is a real, measurable financial hit that just gets bigger and bigger the longer you stay with one employer. To put it really simply, it's the price you pay for being loyal. It's this quiet cost that just adds up over time. So while you're there, being a great team player, building up all this deep knowledge, the market rate for your skills might be skyrocketing, moving way faster than your little annual raise. And check this out. This quote kind of flips the whole thing on its head. It's not necessarily a personal thing, right? It's not that your boss doesn't value you. It's suggesting the system itself, the very structure of it, is built to create this exact outcome by default. And you've probably felt this yourself, right? Your first year or two, your raises are pretty good. They seem tied to how well you're doing. But then, somewhere around year 3 or 4, something changes. The raises get smaller, settling into that kind of standard, 3% a year. And that's not about your performance anymore. That's about the system taking over. So the big question is, why? Why does this happen? Well, it all comes down to this hidden architecture called compensation banding. It's basically the invisible rulebook that decides what you can earn in any job. Okay, so think of it like this. Every job is inside a band. It has a floor, the absolute minimum they'll pay, a midpoint, which is kind of the target, and a ceiling, the absolute max for that role. When you get hired, they place you somewhere on that scale, and your yearly raises are designed to just nudge along that path. But, and this is a big but, here's the trap. If you're a high performer and you stay in the same role for a while, you eventually slam right into that ceiling. And in HR speak, you're now comp ratio maxed. At that point, the system says you're fully paid for your job. There's just no more room for your salary to grow, no matter how valuable you are to the company. Now, this whole system is basically held together by something called information asymmetry. It's a really fancy term, but the idea is simple. One side of the negotiating table has way more information than the other. I mean, just look at this. When you go into your annual review, the company knows everything. They know your salary band, the ceiling, exactly what it would cost to replace you, the whole 9 yards. And what do you know? Usually just what you're making right now. It's a huge imbalance. And that information gap, that's exactly where the loyalty penalty lives. That standard 3% raise isn't just about the budget. It is a calculated bet on what the company thinks you'll accept because you don't know your true market value. It's basically a test to see if you're paying attention. So what do you do about it? How do you close that gap? You got to change your whole mindset. You have to stop being just a passive piece in their system and start being an active playmaker in your own career. And the real key is knowing the difference between a small internal raise and something called a market pricing event. An internal raise is limited by budgets and your past salary. But a market pricing event, which, let's be honest, almost always means getting a new job offer, forces a company to pay you based on what you're worth today, not what you were worth 3 years ago. It completely resets the conversation. Now hold on. This doesn't mean you should go hand in your notice tomorrow. Loyalty absolutely has real value, just maybe not the kind that shows up on a paycheck. Things like established trust, knowing the company inside and out, having a strong network, those things are incredibly valuable and they're crucial for being happy at work. But at the end of the day, you have to do the math for yourself. Over the course of a decade, that comfort and loyalty can easily turn into a massive salary gap. We're talking 20, 30, even 50%. You just have to weigh those intangible benefits against a very, very real financial cost.
We wanted this whole explainer to give you that insider's perspective so you can really answer this final question for yourself. See, the goal isn't to tell you to just start job hopping. It's to make sure you understand the game you're playing. The real takeaway here is having the power to make that choice strategically, not just emotionally, and to make sure you're getting paid what you are truly worth.